Kids are in foster care because of abuse, abandonment, or neglect. When it comes to the system, there is a greater percentage of Black and Latino children in care. Why? What can be done about it? Joining us now, Congresswoman Karen Bass, one of the nation's leading advocates for children in the system. You are taking this head on. Not a new issue, though.
No, not a new issue at all. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the statistics in California, African Americans make up about 6% of the population, but about 25% of the children in foster care. For Latinos, it's 40% of the population and over 50% of the children in foster care. It isn't a new problem, but I think the effort that was spearheaded today is a great start.
Okay, so there was a meeting with California lawmakers. You're actually returning from Congress to meet with your old friends in the Assembly. She was the Speaker of the Assembly. So this is a California issue that you can then also take to Washington?
Oh, because it's a national problem, absolutely. But it was great reunion to see my old colleagues. This was the Assembly Select Committee on Foster Care. It was actually a select committee that I started, and Jim Bell from Northern California is continuing on that work. Okay, so Holly Mitchell, Kern Price were both there as well. Meeting
number 2, there's going to be 3 statewide. What are you trying to accomplish here?
Well, the main thing is Assemblymember Bell has a bill, Bill 1611, that's requiring counties, should this bill pass, to provide training to prevent disproportionality and also to really focus on permanency for African American and Latino kids who wind up languishing in the system longer.
Let's look at some of the facts and figures we've gathered here. I've got a screen right here. In Los Angeles County, I talked to DCFS today. They told me they get 145,000 calls a year about abuse, abandonment, neglect. Yep. 35,000 children in LA County foster care at any given time. The breakdown, you gave us the figures about the number of African American children
in the state.
Okay, in LA County, 9% of the children are African American, but in foster care it's 27%.
Exactly.
Why is that?
And I do have to tell you, that's a tremendous improvement because it was much higher before. And so every part of the system, you have African American children being removed from home in numbers that are disproportionate. And there's a lot of reasons. One reason is the training of the social workers. When you look at the #1 reason that kids are removed is neglect. Neglect can be a rather subjective term. Sometimes poverty can look like neglect, depending on the experience of the social worker.
Yeah, in fact, I read not necessarily more abuse.
Right.
Okay. I also talked with the head of DCFS, Philip Browning, and he gave us a statement here I'm going to put on your screen, but I give you these figures. They have worked very hard to reunify family members within 12 months. I guess in the past it was only 35% for minority children. It's now 62% reunified with birth family within 12 months. So you are seeing some progress.
Absolutely, and I think LA County has made a lot of improvements. The problem is that the only time you hear about the child welfare system is when there's been a tragedy. Now, there's certainly many more improvements that need to be done, but I think that example of 60% reunification is a great statistic.
And the idea, too, is a lot more work with the families, so families who are having some trouble can get some assistance to try to make their families get back together and stay intact.
Prevent the children coming into foster care to begin with. A family is in crisis, you shouldn't automatically remove the child. Prevent the crisis, keep the family together. A lot of good examples in LA County.
Congresswoman Karen Bass, thank you much. And I should point out, we were in Washington together for a huge bipartisan committee, and Congress Michelle Bachmann, part of your team as well. So it is Republicans and Democrats working on behalf of these kids in foster care. Carlos, back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you.